Let's start with Bitcoin itself. What's kind of your read on where we are right now from a Bitcoin market sentiment standpoint, et cetera?
Feels pretty good, doesn't it? We had that run up to 64k. I wish I just sold some Bitcoin back then, but we dumped down 29k. I feel like we stabilized around 30k. Whatever the bears try to do to push us below it, we held 30k, and we're up now pretty comfortably at 45k. I mean, how long to 100k pump? What do you reckon? 2 months?
I don't know. What's your 2021 end of year Bitcoin price prediction?
115k.
115K. What's the logic to get us to 115K by the end of the year?
I agree with Dan Moorhead's thesis. I think the Pantera one have got it right.
And what is their thesis?
I just followed their price tracking. If you look at their price tracking chart, I think they topped it out at 115k. They've been pretty hot on that. It's worth having a look.
I mean, that'd be a lot of fun.
I think 100k.
All right. What's going on in El Salvador? You went down to El Salvador before the announcement. You were aware of the announcement, I believe. You've spent a bunch of time with Jack Mallers and Strike. You've made multiple trips to the country. What's kind of your take on Bitcoin acceptance in El Salvador and what that country and that leadership is doing there?
Well, I think we've had the initial excitement of the announcement that the government is making Bitcoin legal tender, but all eyes on September the 7th. I'm going to be heading down there late August and staying until I think around the 10th of September. And it's all on the actual rollout, because the law comes into force on September 7th. We're going to see what the reality of this means of people accepting Bitcoin or how the government app works. I think there's some nervousness and I think there's some anxiousness around this. So I just think it's kind of wait and see now, right? Because we don't really know how this is going to play out.
Yeah. And when you think about what the bear case, let's maybe start there. What do you think the bear case is for El Salvador with Bitcoin? And then what do you think the bull case is?
Well, I mean, the bear case for El Salvador is that the rollout is an absolute shit show. There's problems with the app. People don't understand it. A lot of people buy Bitcoin. We then go into a bear market. And by the time Bukele's term comes to an end, a load of people have lost a load of money. And it gives the opposition a very easy attack vector to say Bitcoin was a disaster. We need to, they campaign on a platform that we need to remove Bitcoin as legal tender because it's been a disaster for the country. And I think there's multiple other things that can go in there for the bear case. I think the bull case is that there's a significant amount of investment of Bitcoin into the country. And that Bitcoin finds itself into the wallets of people who live in El Salvador. People ended up using Bitcoin for remittance, like there's been built with Jack Mallers, and it's hugely successful for the country. But yeah, one thing that I don't think works well for them on the timing is that Bukele's term comes to an end when traditionally we would be in a bear market, quite near the bottom of a bear market. So I think there's a lot that will be dictated on price here and how much people invest.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then in terms of Bitcoin Beach, I know you spent time there as well. Explain to everyone kind of what you saw when you went there.
I mean, Bitcoin Beach is an evolving project. When I first went there in December 2019, it was a very early stage, almost charity project whereby Michael Peterson was giving jobs to local kids and paying them in Bitcoin, and they could spend it on local stores. And it was a cute little project where a handful of kids were getting Bitcoin and they could spend it maybe at the local pupuseria or a local shop, but it was nothing that impressive. It was just another Bitcoin project. And then it just kept expanding. And by the time COVID ended, I could travel back to there. This expanded to the whole town, and pretty much the whole of El Zonte had hyper-Bitcoinized. Everyone accepted Bitcoin. Everyone knew how to use Bitcoin. Everyone just kind of understood it. You add to that, the Jack Mallers came in and launched Strike, and then the president announced they're launching, making the Bitcoin legal tender in the country. So really out of the seed that Michael Peterson created back 2 years ago, we now have a country that's set Bitcoin to be legal tender, which is kind of amazing, really. When are you coming down?
Listen, I want to go. The two things that are most interesting to me are, one, how important it's going to be for the government to actually kind of subsidize and kickstart the the kind of growth trajectory of it, right? If they need to be really, really involved, do they have the conviction to do that? Could the politicians be switched out through elections, et cetera? Like there's a lot of complexity there. But if we need to rely on a government to really kind of kickstart that, that'll be something to watch. If we don't, then it becomes really interesting where basically the government ends up following the will of the people, and something like a Bitcoin Beach serves as a model. You can actually go to other countries and you can basically start on a micro level. You can gain some level of adoption. You can start the flywheel and then eventually work your way up to a national government. So I think that's kind of one thing I'm watching. The second thing that's really interesting to me is there's been tons and tons of Bitcoiners that have been going down there. And it's unclear to me if people are actually going to move there, or if it's more now, hey, I'm going somewhere for 2 weeks. Let me go to El Salvador. Let me go check out Bitcoin Beach. It's a one-time trip, and then I don't go back. The reason why that's interesting to me is because if people go and either move there or spend months there or go very frequently, now all of a sudden the embracing of Bitcoin becomes a huge, kind of benefit or a tailwind for a government. So there's a model to show, hey, if you embrace Bitcoin, now all of a sudden, all these people are going to come to your country from a tourism standpoint. They're going to spend more time. They're going to inject money into your economy. They're going to be able to help you increase the jobs, etc. If they only come one time and then they leave, the novelty of that would wear off pretty quickly. And, most Bitcoiners aren't going to go to 15 different countries, right? So it's kind of maybe the first, second, maybe third country, they get the benefit and everyone else doesn't. But that's really the two big things that I'm watching, because I think that El Salvador right now, when you have one country do it, people say that's interesting. Let me see how it plays out. It's if it works and there's certain kind of milestones that are hit or certain kind of data points that people can show later, you'll see many more countries follow suit.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting following on Twitter. I've seen I think literally hundreds of Bitcoiners have now been down and visited El Zonte. And a couple of things that are interesting about that. Firstly, if they're Bitcoiners, they're probably financially in a good position. So they're spending money, but also hopefully some of them actually leaving sats there. And the idea that people are leaving sats there in that local economy, I think is quite an important thing, because what it does is it increases the percentage of sats which exist in El Salvador. So as Bitcoin continues to increase in value, it raises up the net wealth of the country. So now I like the idea of people going down there spending their sats. I like the idea of people getting their residency, which is the 3 Bitcoin investment. I like the idea of Bitcoin companies investing in there. I always think of Bitcoin, it's kind of a game really. And you have a score, and your score is the number of sats out of the 21 million Bitcoin that you own. It's the same for a country really. As Bitcoin increases in value, the more sats that country has, the more that raises up the net wealth of the country. So hopefully you're right. Hopefully more people be going down to visit, spending money and investing their Bitcoin in the country.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching that clip of The Best Business Show. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you know when we go live every weekday, and then head to SoFi.com/pomp so that you can get an account and we can get after it.